Hello there, this is Rom Wills coming back at you with yet another video. Levels to being select. You know what? I'm gonna tell you the truth. Now I've had a detractor. I'm not gonna honor him by calling his name, who acted like I invented the 80-20 rule. He was like, yeah, Rom, that 80-20 rule, which first of all, I didn't. That's the earliest, as I said in a response to this young man, the earliest mention that I've seen of the 80-20 rule was in a book in 1986. And even then, and of course, there's been something recently on one of these online dating things where they say 80% of the women wanted 20% of the men. And you know what? I think the rule is overrated. Now, maybe I haven't research it, and really dug into it to see what it really is, because that'd be an extensive project. It really would, to really verify it. It's a general thing to say, so you know what? That's cool. All right, comedians can say it or whatever, but. And this is kind of piggybacking off my last podcast when I was talking about research methods. Now, one of the things I didn't talk about was, a lot of research I've done is based on other people's studies. One of the things you learn in research is, to read source materials, to see who else has did something. Why reinvent the wheel, right? So, based on that, and then based on direct observation, I would say that the select group, at least in the African American community, why not focus on that? At least in the African American community. It might change in other communities, or if you take men as a whole, but in the African American community, the select group actually maybe represents 35% of the male population, 35 to 40% of the population, roughly one third is not as extreme. Now, sometimes people think it's extreme because what happens is people have a tendency, men and women have a tendency to focus on the apex brothers and stuff, the top level brothers, that do, the celebrities, focus on what the celebrities are doing, or, the highly paid professional types, and see what they're doing and everything. There's a tendency to think they're select, but the select, even the concepts of select, that's bigger. That's why I don't really give a number when I do it, and I'm just doing this the first time I've actually given a real number. And the reason why I say 1/3, because that select group, there's levels to being select. Now, like you say, you got those dudes up there, they can get 10 women a month, sex, easily. And they do. But those dudes, like I said, those are the apex dudes. A lot of celebrities, especially like certain sports players, certain music stars, easily. Right? But then you have some dude, they might can get one new woman a month. Right? But, and this is something I shared with my private group, that's still 12 new women a year. And in 5 years, that's a lot of women, right? They still select. Because here's the thing. Select don't automatically mean womanizer. Womanizer just means womanizer. They just one part of the select. You get plenty of guys who, they can get attention from a lot of women, but for many reasons, they just don't want to be bothered. Or maybe it's some spiritual reasons. Like you have some ministers who actually try, even though they get women throwing themselves at them like crazy, who try to be monogamous. And I've actually known a few. Now, some get caught, but even when they get caught, they still only dealing with a few women. Select just means that, I say a majority of women who see you find you attractive. They don't now say, man, that does not automatically mean, they're going to spread their legs for you. Only at best, let me say this. At best, it means they're going to be receptive if you approach them. That's all it means. Indeed, a little nuance with the select is a lot of select dudes are in a friend zone. And that's why there's a lot of dudes out there who think they non-select because some women put them in the friend zone. There's a little secret with some women, right? And I said this on my Patreon. If I get a chance, check out my Patreon. That's where I go like gully. That's where I go raw, really raw, right? But women are deep to the point with that select, non-select thing that if they can, they will populate their non-select, not their friend zone rather, with nothing but select men. For example, if you get a woman who's constantly around like male strippers, right? And you do get some women like that, like they could be a manager or something like that. They ain't gonna have sex with all of them or even any of them. They might just say, nah, you know what? I'm just cool with y'all. You see some women like that. That's how deep for some women, like that whole select, non-select thing. You get many women, if they can avoid dealing with a non-select guy, they'll do it. But then they'll see some guy, you get some guys, they'll say, man, she keep friends, this woman friends on me or this woman friends on me. That don't necessarily mean you non-select. That just mean that particular woman, for whatever reason, don't want to fuck you. That's it. You know? And also it could mean you'll break in case of emergency, but you still select. Because while you focus on that woman, put you in a friend zone, there's 10 more who like ready and willing if you just pay attention to her. So there's levels to this. Yeah, you get the top dude, right? But then you get the dude at another level. And plus another thing too, understand one thing about the whole select thing with a woman. Her select group expands as she gets older. Let me say that again. Like her select group expands as she get older. When she's 20, she might want the very good looking guy, you know, who's tall, conspicuously handsome, or, you know, the guy with that swag, or, you know, the guy with the charisma when she's 20. As she gets older, her needs change. And this ain't always because all of a sudden she pops out some kids. A lot of times these women's needs change just because they got smarter. They got more mature. Like I said, I met a whole lot of women in their 30s and 40s. They just realize, oh, wait a minute. I can't do this thing if, I can't really find a mate if I limit myself like this. They just get smarter. I know some guys don't want to believe that. But there's some women out there, plenty of women, who reach their 30s, 40s and stuff. And they realize, hey, you know what? Limiting myself to some pretty boys or something ain't doing it for me. You know, and it ain't even that they want babies or want the, hit some wall. Because I've met plenty of women in their 40s, older than that, who got bodies better than some 20-year-olds. I got a good friend now. She's if I'm 52, she's 53. And she got a better body than probably 90% of the 20-year-old women walking around here. You know, she ain't hit no damn wall. And people in my private site know who I'm talking about. All right. Look, the thing is, as they get older, many get more sense. So they figure, okay, I can't limit myself just to some swag. So they start adding stuff in there. As they add stuff, their select group gets bigger. And on another level, right, with that level thing, and with the select group getting bigger, a lot of guys really, most men don't really going to hit their player stage, or that stage where they just doing whatever, or have their supreme amount of attractiveness to a woman until they're in their 30s. That's why even in Hollywood now, if you look at a lot of many of the men that are considered sex symbols, very few are young guys. Very, very few. If you look at it, whenever they talk about their whole thing, like sexiest man and sexiest man alive and all of that, it's always some dude in his 40s or something. Always. It always got a little, if you look at the sex symbols, a little bit of gray hair. Even somebody like Boris Cujo, if he would have let his hair grow out, he probably had some gray in it. It's the older cats, right? So it's a lot of dudes, and plus in general, many men just get better with age anyway. If they can avoid any major psychological trauma or anything. That's why you got a lot of women who go after older men. See, it expands more. Tripped up for a second, but yeah, it expands more. But at the same time, even if a guy kind of works his way into the select group, that don't mean all of a sudden he's just going to have like a constant orgy. He might not even want one because one, if he worked his way up, he got, you know what, he worked on his body. You know, he dealt with any personality issues. He got, he got the house, car, got a business, probably flipping house, doing all of that. He really ain't gonna want to mess with a lot of women anyway. So, even if he could have like 10 a month, he probably ain't. He probably just want maybe 3 or 4 women who gonna be on his team. They ain't gonna cause him any drama. And that's at most. Some dudes, like I said, some dudes don't even want that. Like I know a dude now, right? And this dude has a little bit of notoriety. I've mentioned him before. If this dude wanted to, he could probably get 20 women a month easily. He could just stay in pussy and still do what he going. And he could probably tell the women, just come over my place. We're gonna have sex, then you gotta leave. And there's plenty of women who would do that. But he's good with the one woman he has, cause well, she bad as shit. And some dudes like that. You get some dudes, they can be select, but they just for whatever reason they just gonna exercise some discipline. They just don't want to be bothered. Now they get sex, but they don't feel like being bothered with like everything else or a whole bunch of stuff. And then on another level, just because you select it don't mean like you're the elite. Look at it like athletes. You got like something like basketball. You got the LeBron Jameses and stuff, right? But then you got that person who's the 12th man on the bench. Now, people, within that context, when people say, well, maybe that person's not selected, that person's still selected. The person's still in the NBA. There's a whole lot of dudes out there wish they were sitting on that bench in 12th man. They still in an elite league. Like any elite, you still gonna have levels within it. So, there's levels to being select. Get that in your mind too. Two, even if you get rejected, everybody's going to get rejected. It's just a matter of how much you getting rejected and what you're doing. Because even if you that type of guy who do have like a lot of women checking for you, somebody ain't going to be checking for you. Even the top elite guys, there's going to be at least one woman who ain't feeling them. So there's levels to this thing. Levels to being select. Anyway, that's it for today. I'll talk to y'all later. Peace.